I started a couple minutes early just to try and orient myself. I will play most of it properly. Alright, let me turn this down. That is way too loud. Can't talk over that. It's my first time doing the gaming and the streaming. Gonna try and see how I can do that. But also being able to hear it is actually quite important to playing the game. So I'll see how exactly that works. But give it a couple minutes before I start. It's not yet time. In fact, I might tell this lady to go away. So I'm gonna start when it's 8 o'clock. Keep looking down here. All right, it's time. It's 8:01. I've given enough time. Welcome to my second live stream. This is my test 0.5. I did a live stream on Sunday last week, trying to orient myself to how this actually works. 5 days later, you can see. I think that's 5 days later. Our setup is looking much improved. I mean, I'm recording at night now, so hopefully the lighting's better. This camera is probably not the best. I'll be so real. Forgive me for that. But I got a mic in front of me now, which is kind of nice. Yeah, everything's coming along. I've ordered a new monitor actually as well, which should arrive the next few days, and we'll hopefully again see an improvement in our technology systems. You can see the topic list on the screen. Today's live stream might be a bit different. I'm being attacked by an animal on the screen. I'm not sure why. Oh, it's a bear. I gotta run away. All right, sorry. This is part of, I'll just pause that. So part of trying to like stream live, play a game, and talk about something at the same time. I'm sure I'll get there, but Far Cry, you can get attacked by animals, and as I was trying to talk, an animal started attacking me. I didn't realize I could just pause the game and continue the game after I figured it out. Anyway, today's live stream structure might be a bit different. I think on Sunday I did one where I was primarily doing more journalism, you might say. I was talking a lot more, and I was sharing sources, playing the videos, which I definitely enjoyed. But today's meant to be more of a relaxing one. It's a Friday. I'm sure you guys are all relaxing in bed if you're watching this somewhere. It's pretty cold outside as well, so being inside actually makes a lot of sense, which is why I'm doing live stream. Nicely timed for your indoor activities. And essentially, I'm going to be doing more talking today because I'm going to be playing the game. I can't be sharing different videos. I'm going to be trying to do that at the same time, but I won't spend too much time on that. You just have to take my word for most of it. And again, we're talking mostly opinion stuff, so it doesn't require us to share, as much sources and facts. It's always nice to hear what other people have to say. So I do have some tweets I'm going to share as well, but for the most part, it's just me talking and playing. These are the topics. Let's go through them. I'll talk you through a bit about Far Cry and the game, and then we'll get into it. So I'm talking Jadon Sancho and Sweetie. I've been pronouncing her name Sweetie. No one told me that it's just pronounced Sweetie. Fair enough. Sweetie and Jadon Sancho. The fallout from her friend leaking all these things. As always, you'd expect I have a bit more to say about it than just the typical gossip. So I do try and bring a fresh, insightful perspective that actually kind of dovetails with some of the epiphanies, you might say, I've been having in my own personal life around who we want to be and the kind of version of ourselves we want to be affirming. Anyway, that's going to be fun. Also talking about the ceasefire, the fallout from that. It's been announced. I'm just going to say right now, I'm very skeptical. I don't believe it. Let me just say that. I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. And I guess what I see it looks like is, right now, they've been, a few days ago, they were killing maybe 70, 100 Palestinians a day. Now they might be killing 8 to 10 a day. That's what ceasefire looks like for the Palestinians, unfortunately. We'll see if it gets to that level of low intensity, in quotes. I won't hold my breath. Trump Nobel Prize. Now, Trump wanted the Nobel Prize. Who actually ended up getting the Nobel Prize? I mean, they're better than Trump, but I'll get into it. And then neurodiversity. I did a video about this on my TikTok, where one of our favorite fashion designers, Clinton, talked about how people use neurodiversity as an excuse for their uselessness. That was quite interesting. I said some stuff on my TikTok, but I think general, more holistic reflections on my experience with neurodiversity, how that's affected me, how that's changed stuff, etc., etc. So I'm gonna move the topics away from the screen, and I'm gonna let's get into Gaza Ceasefire first. Before I do that, though, let me talk a bit about the game. This is Far Cry. I'm playing specifically a what do you call this kind of mission again? A scavenge. Essentially, this is an outpost. Oh my goodness, this bear is still here. I'm still getting attacked by the bear. I gotta run away now. I can't even talk right now. I do have weapons that can kill this bear, so maybe I'm just gonna try and attack it. There it is. Oh, okay, guys, give me a second. I can't talk right now. Okay, the bear's dead. Nice. Got the bear skin. I just wasted 2 bloody things on this. Anyway, this is Far Cry, one of my favorite games, because it's like a first-person shooter, but it's also not like your typical first-person shooter. Basically, you're fighting in like a jungle, and it's all meant to be mysterious and interesting. I've basically completed the game now, so I have basically all the fancy weapons. You can see these crowns on my weapons mean they're the elite weapons, which is the best of the best. So the game should be theoretically easier now, although I'm not very good at these games, so it might not be as easy as it would be if you're watching this, ripping your hair out, saying, this game is so easy, why is he doing this? I'm not very good at these games. Anyway, trying to liberate, quote unquote, this outpost, and the best thing to do is to tag the people so you can see clearly where they are, and you can start taking them out. So tag all the enemies, tag all the people that you need to take out, and usually it helps to turn off these alarms. There's another guy there. But how many alarms are in this place? I think there's only 1. So probably I can get close enough to turn it off. And then there's another guy there. So you can see I have all the weapons I have are basically meant to be stealth weapons. This is an arrow thing. This is a sniper. And this is also a stealth weapon. And I've got this. That's something about Far Cry. Before I get into trying to liberate the mission, I'm going to play some videos about the ceasefire. That's the first topic. Let me pause that and see how easy this will be. Twitter window, bring this in here, and then make this smaller, and then it's my Twitter window. So let's go into some ceasefire stuff. I bookmarked a few materials for us to discuss. I think I might start at the bottom actually. I just bookmarked something about Miss Rachel said something about what Obama said on the ceasefire. Let me see if I can find it in here. Ah, here we go. So Miss Rachel, if you don't know who Miss Rachel is, she is a content creator, I guess. She does content for children. And she's been someone that's been taking a very interesting, very nice moral stance on Gaza. So Barack Obama, as he's wanted to do, released a statement on Gaza, trying to sound like, the thing about Barack Obama is like, since you actually when you grow up and realize how the world actually works, his charm wore off very quickly. So every time I see a statement from him, I'm just rolling my eyes and annoyed. I'm sure there's some liberals somewhere that are like, oh my God, Black Jesus, this is so cool. But when I hear Obama speak, I just want to vomit in my mouth. So he released a statement. Let me try and see if I can go to the statement itself. Here we go. Here we go. He says, here we go. After 2 years of unimaginable loss and suffering for the Israeli families and the people of Gaza. So a lot of people are pointing out the fact that, I mean, first of all, unimaginable loss for the Israeli families and the people of Gaza. People are pointing out that people of Gaza, it doesn't humanize them because they have families too. Just say imaginable loss and suffering for the families of Israelis and Palestinians. But that sounds nicer to the Palestinians, doesn't it? You don't want to give people the impression that you actually think they're human. That would be the wrong impression to give. So you call them the people of Gaza. And Miss Rachel released a statement basically coming after him saying, how dare you? The Palestinians are humans too. They deserve, here we go. They have families. This language contributes to dehumanization. 100%. There's no way you can watch what's happening to the Palestinians and not realize that on some level, people don't think they're the same as them. Like, even today when the ceasefire was announced, Israel killed a bunch of Palestinians, I think 55 or 60 or something like that. That just passes with no, it's not a big deal, basically. Let me see, what else do I have to pick out here? Aid is going to start going in, apparently. Now, I saw a tweet from this guy, Arsen Ostrovsky or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. He's like an Israeli Hasbara person, like a lawyer that's always fighting, defenseless people in Europe to try and get them to bend the knee to Israel. He was talking about how, the UN now says they have loads of food to feed Hamas, the Palestinians, pretending as though Israel hasn't been blocking the food. Again, these kind of people, when the reckoning happens, what's going to be worse about this is you're going to have some liberals who are going to start telling us that, when people finally come to your side, you shouldn't be gloating about it. Nah, we're going to be gloating. We're going to be gloating. Candace Owens said something about it. I want to play this a bit later on, actually, before I play the video. This guy in Gaza talking about how they detained this woman again. When you live under apartheid and occupation, it's never really quite a ceasefire for you, isn't it? Like, that's like someone putting their foot on your neck and then going from putting their foot to like maybe their hand. I mean, it probably hurts less, but the effect is you more or less the same. You've had a lot of people talking about how, why don't we just, be gracious about the fact that, the ceasefire's happened now. I've minimized my window and I can't actually find it anymore. This is not great. Okay, this is not what I was looking to do. There we go. I meant to move it. Ooh. 1 second. I meant to move the window away. Move it this way. All right, finally I can play the game. All right. The latest on the ceasefire has kind of been like, you had a lot of Israeli Hasbara people gloating about the fact that, you guys have been wanting a ceasefire for so long. Now we have a ceasefire. What are you complaining about? And the cheek of these people who have been making a ceasefire sound like the most horrific thing in the world. Ah, shit. Now caring that, Now caring about the fact that, like, there's been a ceasefire and we should all be celebrating for them. Now, part of me thinks that the reason why they are reacting this way is basically because this is not actually a ceasefire. Ah, shit. Oof. Like, you can't convince me that these people, fucking hell. reinforcements have been called. You can't convince me that these people actually think this ceasefire is going to hold. I might as well just start again. In this game, once the reinforcements get called, just start again. They know that this is not going to be a real ceasefire, and like Netanyahu is someone who, for the longest time, has never wanted a ceasefire. Even today, the extremists in his cabinet basically said, "Oh, we will never allow Hamas to run Gaza. Any quote unquote ceasefire that doesn't get rid of Hamas is something we will never stand for." So that makes you think, and the fact that, like I said in my live stream on Sunday, if you haven't seen that, maybe go and watch it. The IDF is still in Gaza. So they haven't left. Like, nothing is stopping them once the hostages are released from starting this conflict again. I say conflict, that's a generous word for what they're doing, but that's exactly what they plan to do. I'm very convinced. I just don't have enough evidence yet because everyone's making it seem like something. When they even asked Trump about it, like, oh, how do you know the ceasefire is going to hold? And he was kind of like, well, I guess we'll see. Like, this is something that I just cannot trust. I just do not trust these people. Let me see if I can snipe this dog without any consequence. Nice, got it. They're gonna start wondering who killed their dog. Anyway. And you've also had people talking about how, all of you that have been complaining about a ceasefire, now that there's been a ceasefire, are we gonna see the marches in London stop? As though this just means like there's peace in the land. Like, imagine if a ceasefire meant that Israel was still being occupied by the Palestinians. Would they stand for that? Ooh, why is this guy so close to seeing me? Like, would they just be okay with the fact that, okay, let's just have occupation, but like, as long as you're not killing 70, 80, 90, 100 people every day, then everything's okay? Of course not. But the Palestinians just meant to accept that. As long as you're not dying in mass numbers, just accept it. We haven't even talked about the West Bank. And part of what, I think I did a TikTok on Friday basically saying that now that the Gaza front, if you want to call it that, I can't even see my my chat. Now that the Gaza front has died down, I won't be surprised if you see something big start happening in the West Bank. Because if you think about what's happening in the West Bank right now, there's no Hamas, there's no one to really defend it. The Israelis can do whatever they want in the West Bank. They can go in there, steal the homes, burn them down, murder some people, keep stealing land, and people kind of look away because Gaza's so distracting. Like, Gaza's like the Holocaust of our time, so you kind of have to focus on that. You can't really be focusing on, as much as you'd like to, the West Bank, because there's more pressing issues. I'm now wondering, like, once if this ceasefire holds again, once it holds, if it does, what would now happen in terms of, the West Bank? Because there might be increasing pressure on the Israelis to do something about the West Bank. That's the West Bank is where these people can't even pretend, like the Western leaders and stuff can't even pretend as though like, oh, what's happening is okay. That's why they do some sanctions every now and then of like, different, West Bank, when, them different groups in the West Bank saying, oh, these people are doing terrorism, it's unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. But they've been able to largely get away with not saying much about the West Bank. Once Gaza starts to die down, I'm predicting, just my opinion, that they're gonna have to start doing some terrorism or invent a new terrorist group. Like, we all know for the longest time that Hamas was an invention of the Israelis, and what that means is that they have to invent. Oh shit. They have to invent a new terrorist group in the West Bank to try and take credit for what they're going to start doing to the people there. Because if it's a case of like, oh, how are you able to do... Oh, shit, I saw him. If it's a case of how are you able to do this and get away with it, if there was terrorist groups in the West Bank that were actively murdering people, then it would be much easier to justify what's happening right now. But we don't have that. So what I expect to see is some kind of inorganic group. We already see them doing it in Gaza, where they'll fund these groups to steal the aid and loot the aid because they just need the video footage of them saying the aid is being stolen. That's why the people are starving to death. Not that we're not letting any food in and we're starving them intentionally. Oh, let me get this guy. And so I'm predicting that that's what's gonna happen next. Oh, I gotta pause this 1 second. In the West Bank, we'll have to wait and see. I feel on the one hand somewhat happy for the Palestinians, but I'm also dreading really what's to come. I'll leave it there in terms of that summary. What do we have? Actually, the top thing I have on my topic list was Jadon Sancho and Sweetie, which I might keep the game paused to try and dissect exactly what happened. Now, if you don't follow football or pop culture, you might not know. If you're watching this and you're like, who are these people? I'll explain. Jadon Sancho was once a football superstar. He used to play for Borussia Dortmund, plays for Man United, plays for Chelsea. I think he's at Aston Villa now, I believe. A few months ago, sometime during is it last season or this season? It might have been last. It was that last season. It was at Chelsea. He got into a relationship with Sweetie. I told my friend about Sweetie. He was like, "Who's that?" And I said, "Hey, that's my type." He was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Anyway, that's her song. I don't want to sing it before they demonetize me. But look her up. And honestly, Jadon Sancho's stock kind of rose as a result of this relationship. I'll be so honest, because a lot of people didn't think he had it in him, which is part of what I'm going to talk about a bit later on. Now, we didn't know what happened with that. He actually got a tattoo of her on his neck, which I should probably pull up Twitter to get you guys a proper breakdown of all of this, because this is quite important. Forgive me, it's a bit like running a spaceship here to try and figure all this out. Here we go. Jadon and Sweetie. I have a whole folder for it, just a bit weird, because Sweetie used to go out with Quavo, the Quavo of Migos fame. So it seemed a bit confusing, like, what's she doing with Sancho? He had money, I guess. But then the friend revealed recently, I'm going somewhere with this, by the way, stay with me. She revealed this post, which, if you can you make that out? When B words run it up with Jadon, how much should they be doing a weekend? Wait, let me try and find a clearer picture of that. One moment. It's not coming out the way I want it to. Let me just try and search for it. Jadon Sancho. Already ready to go. One moment, please. Here we go. Jadon. Sounds like, that makes it sound like he's being mugged. Like they're hitting a lick on him, which maybe some people would say that's actually what's happening right now. Like it's like a run on the bank. That's the kind of language she's using when we run it up on him. How much they be doing in a weekend? Oh God. So now we know that Jadon Sancho was a victim. There's a video of what's this British rapper, the Somali one, where he says, "I've been a victim." And the point I'm trying to make about this, I'm not just doing gossip here. It says, Jadon Sancho, United's franchise player, is getting taken for a dickhead. My franchise player Saka doesn't deal with this. Do you know what? That tweet sounds funny, but there's a lot of truth in it. If you think about the kind of people that find themselves in these situations, it actually makes a lot of sense. Because there's a way you view yourself, there's a way your self-perception is that won't allow you to be in this situation. Like, if you close your eyes and remove the name Jadon Sancho and just think about all the best footballers, all your top players in the world, of course they've all done like bad things, questionable things, but getting taken a mug off like this just shows the kind of person you are. And honestly, it's no surprise that Jadon Sancho's career has kind of played out the way it did, because I feel a bit bad for him. This is someone that, this is his career highlights as of late. This is someone that's lacking in a lot of self-confidence, because there's no way you're confident in yourself and this is happening to you. People know who they can try, as they say. And that made me reflect on, not this, but specifically, I've been thinking about this from before, but I did some videos about affirming who you are. Like the kind of person that's at the top of their game, that's winning man of the matches, that's scoring week in, week out, doesn't find themselves in these situations. Is the kind of how they feel about themselves. So they do stuff like go after people like Sweetie, because a lot of people thirst after her on social media, on Twitter, and it looks like if I'm with her, I'll feel better about myself. not because, basically because I'm proud of myself for getting her. She's the prize. And so how I'm going to win that prize is I'm going to do stuff that people that are confident and people that can really get her won't be doing, like getting a tattoo of her name behind his neck, a permanent tattoo of someone you've known for, like someone that's tweeting about when girls run up on you, how much they be doing. This is the person you're getting a tattoo of. Like, I don't even know how you recover from this. It's like, I'm so sorry, but like this feels actually like irreversible. I don't know what kind of sports psychologists. I don't think he just needs a psychologist, full stop. Not a sports one, just a regular kind, because anyone that can put themselves in this kind of situation, they're battling demons. But it also made me reflect generally on like the man-woman dynamic, and how when you think about the way stuff goes, women are usually in the dominant position. Oh, I gotta make this bigger. They're usually in the dominant position. Like, we're the ones chasing them, and they kind of, we have to do stuff to impress them. And I was reflecting on that the other day because I went out with my friend, and she's a girl, but I wasn't really talking to any girls. I was just kind of being with her, having a good time. And then it made me realize, like, hold on a minute. A lot of the times when we're like, going after these girls, we actually just look really weak because, oh, damn it, he moved. Hoping they choose us. There's no power symmetry in that situation. And I think as men, it's very important for us to try and find ways to level the playing field. You have to also become the kind of person that the woman is actually trying to basically move to, because she thinks you're attractive enough to want to talk to. Like, she looks at you and she thinks, I want to talk to that guy, as opposed to the other way around, where you're just hopelessly kind of doing whatever she wants, because it just makes us look so weak and lame. And Jadon Sancho is a classic example. He's someone that, despite having a lot of natural attributes that could, make him quite attractive, he's kind of played it. Oh, damn. He's kind of played it so badly where he's now in a position that he has to be spending loads of money to try and attract the woman. But really and truly, even the women he's trying to attract, they're not even really checking for him, and they're looking to embarrass him, because this is a reflection, essentially, like I keep trying to say, of how he feels about himself. This is someone who is self-perception is the kind. Oh my god, this guy is so tricky. How is he spotting me behind this? Ah, shit. There's quite a few of them. Okay, I gotta move away. I'm so close to doing this mission. I'm gonna be so pissed if I don't. But anyway, that's kind of the high level, low level summary on Jadon Sancho. I'd be interested to see how this affects him mentally and his football moving forward, because like this level of embarrassment is something that might be quite hard to live down. I'll be so honest. How are they spotting me from that far away? What the hell? They're not meant to be able to see me from that far away. I don't really understand how that's happening. I gotta try and go around. I think he's sending a dog after me. 1 second. I gotta get the next topic up because I'm a bit distracted. Anyway, that's that on Jadon Sancho. Reflect on that. If you're a guy and you're thinking about it, think about how is it that girls don't approach you. That's the last thing I was gonna say about it. When I posted the summary, I was asking. I said, the woman we want. You have an idea of her in your head. She's someone that you're like, if you saw her, you're like, oh wow, oh my god. If you think about it, when you see her, you're like, wow, she's extremely bad. She looks so good, blah blah blah. When she sees you, what does she say? What does she think? Does she look at you and she thinks, oh, he's extremely bad? Because if you think about it, people match up with people that they perceive to be on the same level as them. So if you're looking at a girl and you're thinking, this is one of the baddest girls I've ever seen, like she looks great. Let me move my screen down a little. When she looks at you, is she thinking, this guy is one of the baddest guys I've ever seen. It looks great. I'd love to be with him. If your answer is yes, then, you're going to find ahead. You're going to think, I'm close, but not quite. Because you're not the kind of person she would want. You have an idea of the kind of person you'd want. You have to make yourself attractive to the people you want. And in as much as you see them and you think, whoa, that's incredible, they have to see you and also think, whoa, he's incredible. And that goes back to what I was saying even before about trying to basically have more of a presence about you. So not just coming in there, just doing whatever. Like if you like people that stand out, you should also be standing out. If you like people that are introverted, quieter, you should probably be trying to do more of that as well. You have to do the things to attract the kind of people you actually want. That's essentially my message. Anyway, hope that was useful wisdom for you guys. As always, free game. Next thing is about Trump's Nobel Prize. Now, post the ceasefire, there was part of the Hasbara has been like, Trump deserves a ceasefire for ending this. It deserves a Nobel Prize for ending this and bringing about a ceasefire. And I mean, some of it was comical because Trump is quite literally a genocide suspect. Like, he's a co-conspirator, as they would say in American parlance, in the genocide of Gaza. But somehow, oh shit, here they are. I didn't tag them before. But somehow, this is the person that they want us to give a Nobel Prize to. Fair enough. Trump was really campaigning hard for this. I'm not sure how serious he was about winning it. Fair enough. Ooh. Was I tagged? No, I'm so close to doing this. Let me just hide behind this. I gotta let this go down. Basically, when you're playing these, they just simply have too many things. Too many. Got that guy. There shouldn't be many more left, to be honest. But anyway, Trump was campaigning very hard for the Nobel Prize. Then the Nobel, obviously, he was never going to win it because they just simply hate Trump too much. Oh my God, there's so many of them. The Nobel committee hates his guts. So they awarded it to this Venezuelan lady who, I should try and get the thing up. This Venezuelan lady, if you care about the Nobel Prize and who wins it and stuff like that, let me show you the kind of people that win the Nobel Prize nowadays. Obviously, they gave it to Black Jesus Barack Hussein Obama before he went on to start drone bombing civilians to death. But let's see the kind of people that win the Nobel Prize now. I don't know. I guess this is an improvement from Obama, I'd say. Peace Prize. There's a different prize. Obviously, she didn't win the physics one. It went to Marina Corina Machado for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela and her struggle to achieve a peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. Now, obviously, someone might say, like, well, fair enough. There are many dictatorships in the world, people that are trying to do that. Obviously, there's some countries that are dictatorships that are not even trying to be dictatorships because you're simply not going to get very far by that. I guess they didn't find any activists in that. But I don't want to be a whataboutism person. Fair enough. Just so you be forgiven and thinking, like, this is actually someone that cares about democracy and all those kind of things. Not really. This is Marina Machado talking about the fact that she wants to move the US embassy, the Venezuelan embassy, sorry, if she wins, to Jerusalem, which is occupied Palestinian territory, to support Israel. Now, I should probably expand on that a little bit more. When you hear about people, the embassy moving from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, people always talk about it, about the fact that, and I think the media does this to try and, in my opinion, obfuscate from what the real problem with that move is. They always talk about it from the religious perspective. I remember very clearly when Trump moved the US embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, you had CNN talking constantly about how it's a controversial move because Jerusalem is seen as a holy site for all the three religions. That's not why it's controversial. It's a controversial move like if your neighbor decided to move into your house and kick you out. It's your house. Jerusalem is Palestinian land. That's why it's controversial. They're legitimizing the occupation by having an embassy on stolen territory. That's what the real problem is. So this is someone that's meant to be a peace prize winner. So a commitment to peace should be like beyond reproach. And here she is advocating moving the Venezuelan embassy to occupied territory. That's the video of her winning it. I don't really think we need to see that. I think important context about Venezuela for the reason why this is surprising is that Maduro has been president for a while now, and I'm sure he's exceeded his term. There's probably no arguing that. But that's because the US has been trying to strangle the country for the past how many different years. And I've done so many videos on my TikTok about how the US has been murdering fishermen off the coast of Venezuela. No kidding. You know, like, I can probably try and find a video right now. Those videos are really horrible. US strikes. US strikes boats. They've been blowing up ships off the coast of Venezuela. And there's a video right here of this ship that was blown up. Like, let me just take it back. Boom. Fishermen. They're doing this to try and get Maduro to resign. We're going to start murdering your civilians if you don't resign. Now, as Marina Machado called this out, is this something she opposes? No, because this gets her closer to her wish, which is Venezuelan president to be deposed, and maybe she will get in. I'll speak of Venezuela. It's a Colombian flagged vessel that they blew up last time. I won't even be surprised if they did that just to get back at him. It's disgusting. It's completely disgusting. It's just horrific. But this is the kind of people that are winning Nobel Prize nowadays. People that are aligned with one of the most despotic regimes in the world, which is the US, and the kind of murders they're doing. These are the people that are winning Nobel Prizes nowadays. We should be very proud of ourselves. But yes, that's some notes on who actually won the Nobel Peace Prize. We'll see what happens in terms of Venezuela. I'm very concerned about them because Trump has been murdering his civilians. Recently announced the fact that he might start blowing up people in Venezuela directly, of course aimed at drug traffickers. But the story itself was very comical in how obvious it was that drug trafficking was not the real aim of this. The aim is to depose Maduro, and we just have the power to destroy other people's countries for what we want. Fair enough. Let's move on. It's a very depressing thing to talk about. How do I do this? Let me just move this chat away so I can be able to put this away nicely. All right. What's next on our topic list? Neurodiversity as an excuse for uselessness. Now that came from a tweet. I don't know if you're not on X. What do we call tweets now that X is a thing and it's not Twitter anymore? I can't remember. Anyway, it's no surprise that get this guy. Get that guy. Oh, we're storming it together. We're very close. Fuck it. There shouldn't be many more. Let me just get this guy first. Okay, and then there's not many more of them left, I believe. Anyway, neurodiversity. So that tweet obviously was ruffling a lot of feathers in people, you know, when he was talking about how people use neurodiversity as an excuse. As someone who's neurodiverse himself and only found out relatively recently, I think it's lost on people how debilitating it can actually be. And part of the reason why I'm even more consistent in what I'm doing now, content, all these things, is because I understand more clearly how this affects me. And like I said in my TikToks about it, if you don't understand it, the biggest thing you feel, oh, I liberated it, nice. The biggest thing you feel, that's my character right there, is inadequacy. And so I remember when I didn't understand exactly what it meant to have ADHD. In fact, when I actually got my diagnosis, which is part of the point I made on Twitter, is like a lot of people that have it, I was like, I'm a smart guy. I've kind of been smart my whole life. How is some ADHD going to affect? Realize that, oh, okay, this thing is actually no joke. And so things like that, just try and help you understand exactly what ADHD is and what it means. You know, you hear the name, you know, all the time, like attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Now, some people don't actually have the hyperactive portion and they just have attention deficit disorder. But I think the name ADD itself is actually quite interesting because attention deficit is like when you don't have, it's like when you have like not enough attention, basically being at a deficit. Now, interesting thing is that what attention deficit does to people that have ADHD, their brains didn't develop properly. And I think it's so fascinating that as a child, not getting enough attention, there's a supply drop coming, I'm trying to find out where it is. Not getting enough attention actually results in your brain being stunted, essentially. Like Your brain develops poorly or inadequately because you lack attention. So when you hear about like children having attention, is not something you just seek. It's a very justifiable thing as a child to basically crash out because you don't have enough attention. Because I'm living proof, and a lot of people that have ADD are living proof, that it can literally result in your brain developing defectively, which is actually kind of wild when you think about it. And so that kind of attention deficit, what you see is like a consequence and also a kind of effect, like a side effect. So a consequence of attention deficit disorder, which again, a lot of people don't even think about when you think about people that have ADD, is low self-esteem. You've been looking for attention because that's your primary emotional need. And because you're not getting it, you start to just act in bizarre ways. But what that also does is it leads to a kind of stunting of your emotional development. And so a lot of people that have ADD, you think about the concentration element and the fact that, oh, I just struggle to concentrate and I can't think straight, blah, blah. Like I said in my videos, that is probably, in my opinion, 3%, 2% of how it affects you. And I think one of the biggest ways it does affect you is that sense of like lack of like sense of self, where who you are is so poorly it's so poorly defined that your self-esteem is kind of all out of whack. Your sense of self-identity, you don't know who. I love the way the book Scattered Minds, which is one of my favorite books, put it, is like people that have ADHD or ADD have low self-esteem because they don't know who the self they go in. Am I introverted? Am I extrovert? I'm not sure. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm introverted. Why can't I just be a bit more introverted? Why can't I just be a bit more kind of quiet and reserved? Because I don't really want to be that person who I should be, basically. If you think about what that does to you as a person, if you're just very unsure all the time, like, should I do, should I not, should I fight, should I fly, should I, what should be the direction? It's just a sense of profound confusion, and a lot of people that have ADD are kind of lost. I'll be honest and say, like, I felt that kind of feeling as well. Like, I felt very much lost until I started to understand exactly how it affects you. And obviously, if you feel that kind of sense of loss and confusion, what it does to your self-esteem is even more profound. Because obviously, if your sense of self, it's like in itself, is not defined at all, how can you have any serious sense of self-esteem? So you start to seek that externally, and your emotional needs are so important to you that it trumps everything else. You're always looking to have your emotional needs met because, again, you've always kind of been at an attention deficit, so you never had enough. And I think that's a very powerful thing. Now, the side effects of it would be, literally because you didn't have enough attention and some other factors, some of which are genetic, your prefrontal cortex, which is like your brain's CEO, your brain is literally different to other people's brains who don't have ADHD. And I think that's so... Oh, wow, what a shot. No way. Did you see that? The kind of ways ADHD affects you, or ADD. So when you hear people talk about how, oh, people are just using it as an excuse for their uselessness, what I said in my video was like, it genuinely kind of get to the bottom of your ADHD. Like, the idea that it's going to affect you so profoundly that you're just going to feel a bit of like a lot of people have problems at work. Like, there's so many things that if you know someone, you might know someone personally who's like always struggled with work, staying in jobs, like, it's the way it affects your life. It's so profound and kind of multi-layered that, again, I'm sure this guy's just being ignorant. So I'm not like people, like, when you hear about lack of concentration and all these kind of things, it's not really that's not the main issue. And it's always something you're going to be, you're going to keep struggling with and always keep trying to unpack. So I recommend Scattered Minds. That's a book I've been reading. I've read it probably around a lot of times anyway. Let's just say that it really helps you understand where it comes from. Why that book, I use it like a Bible. I read it a lot. Like, when I'm having, certain issue, can grow out of ADHD, but it's very much a gradual process. And so sometimes you have what you might call relapses, where sometimes you feel good, but part of not having a defined sense of self, part of, not knowing who you're meant to be, is that you're very fragile. So you have a very high, what you might call emotional sensitivity. That's something that people that have ADHD, ADD, a lot of them struggle with. They, because they're not sure who they're meant to be, they have these situations where they, any kind of, they're very attuned to changes in the environment. Like it affects them a lot, and that's something that I struggle with, and I keep trying to improve upon, which is like things that happen outside have a very outsized impact on how you feel about yourself, and it's something that's very important for you to try and unpack. So that sensitivity is something that I struggled with, and sometimes continue to struggle. Damn, I mean, what? Whoa, that was crazy. I wasn't even trying to aim for him. It's something that I've struggled with, and sometimes still struggle with. So again, those are the kind of things that I think is important to understand about ADD. So imagine all these kind of cocktail of problems, then trying to deal with like your professional career and all that kind of stuff all at the same time. It can be a bit much, because it's like the kind of thing I'm doing now. There is an element of like, oh my, there is an element of like risk and doubt to it. So when you want to do stuff like this, when you feel like, oh, I'm not sure about if I should do something, or I don't feel confident enough to want to do it, if that's how you're feeling about yourself, it's very hard for you to then be able to kind of overcome that feeling and actually do stuff that you want to do. So a lot of people that have ADD, for example, have creative sides, and if you have a creative side, but that requires you to put yourself out there, to bear yourself. Like I'm on live stream now, and I don't know how many viewers are in here, not many, but you can't really focus on that. You just have to focus on, I enjoy this, I'm passionate about what I'm doing, so I'm just going to keep doing it. If you're someone that struggles with your self-esteem and your sense of self, then that's not going to be easy for you to do, right? And so it can be quite crippling also, which again, if you say like, oh, that this person is just being useless and because they haven't achieved anything, why haven't they done this, why haven't they done that, it can be extremely crippling. So if you're out there and you're watching this and you're someone that struggles with that, like I said, well, you can reach out to me, we can kind of help each other. But also, I cannot recommend Scattered Minds enough. You might feel like you're looking for an answer, like you're looking for someone to just tell you, oh, this is what you need to do, this is exactly what it's going to be. It's not going to be like that. You will never have just one answer. You just have to always kind of, I was going to shoot that bird, never mind. You just have to always continue to understand yourself on some level, and it's just going to get better gradually. So hopefully that was quite useful. That brings us to the end of the live stream. I'm trying to see if my thing is still recording. I hope it is, because I can't see my timer anymore. But hope you found that useful, we found that informative, and once I finish killing this guy, I'll see you guys on the next on the next live stream. I was gonna do another live stream on Sunday, but it's very possible that I won't now, given that I've done one today. Maybe that meant I could have crammed in a bit for a few more topics, but this is also meant to be just practice to keep on doing it. Like this setup was better than the one I did last time, and I'm sure same with everything I've been doing, TikTok, all of that. The more you do it, the better you get. So if you managed to get to the end of this, thank you for watching. Hope you found this informative and enjoyable. And the aim is like doing this on Fridays, like a weekly roundup. The news can be fun, so we don't have to just have it be boring and just a kind of you're doing your little, what do you call it, Sky News type, oh my lord, type nonsense. It can also be exciting. So imagine a world in which every we start watching, we start talking about the week's events. We're making jokes, we're being funny. Oh, I was meant to do funny tweets. How can I forget? Or I'll have to pause the game to do funny tweets. But yes, I'll leave the game here for now, and let me do funny tweets working anymore. Do let me know, because I do want to make this more enjoyable. I do a lot of obviously serious conversation, but it's always nice to also do stuff that's a bit more lighthearted. And so I'm going to show you guys some of the tweets that have made me laugh during the week. You get a sense of my sense of humor. Hopefully you find them funny too, but it's just a good way to kind of wrap up a live stream, isn't it? Let me pull it up. And as always, I'm not going to say Let me stop talking. Funny tweets edition. I actually have a whole folder. Uh, this is no particular order, by the way. It's not like funniest to least funniest or vice versa. But Trump announced his decision, and someone jokes about him joining Hamas because obviously the last 2 years everyone's Hamas. Anything you say that doesn't dovetail exactly with what the Israeli Hezbollah of the day is. Before it was like you can't everyone that calls for a ceasefire is Hamas. Not quite funny. This one I found a little depressing because, and this goes into what I was saying earlier about the Jadon wanted it to happen. You're not Lord Riz, exactly. You're not him. The women have all the power. I'm not complaining about it. For it start making me look like some kind of insult. Actually, I am complaining about it a little bit, but I'm complaining because I think that means as men, we need to step up our game, and we need to start changing that power equilibrium. It can't be the case that they have all the power. We're just kind of sitting there hoping and begging and pleading that they choose us. We gotta change it up. And these kind of tweets just make you realize, and the Jadon Sancho stuff, that the power dynamic is completely warped. So I'm moving a bit mad lately because I'm like, we need to address this. So that was kind of funny. As a person in a business, even though I have a presence in China, you're being left behind. I love the first reply to this, and it's actually Asia. Sorry, I read China because China's obviously the dominant superpower basically in Asia. They're gonna buy TikTok, and they're gonna kick us off very soon for saying any bad things about Israel, calling out the hypocrisy of the Western, elites. Then why not? So if you're watching this, you're probably already in the Chinese century. America is dying very, very quickly. Part of the things I haven't even done is other nonsense around Israel and Gaza and this and the other. But Trump's domestic agenda, he's taking a machete to the American economy. You 100%. This scene was staged. Rubio came to Trump and whispered like from when George Bush was with. Is this Bolsonaro? Is that who this is? This looks like Bolsonaro from the side. I can't really tell. I don't even know. But anyway, this is Trump. Apparently, this is when Rubio whispered to him that the ceasefire has been agreed. Really, bro, you signed that ceasefire thing yourself. You knew it was already happening. It's so fake and phony. But it just made me laugh. Like these rapid response, these Trump fanboys, like everything Trump, just glazing him so hard. Like this is so embarrassing. Anyway, that was funny. This is the soup which is been making in the cartoons. I'm not gonna lie, I'm Nigerian, and this I don't even know what this is. Like what is this? Like it does not look nice. I'm not too sure what this is. But it's not really given. Let me make this smaller so you can see the whole thing. I didn't realize it wasn't big enough. There we go. Yeah, I'm not sure what she's cooking here. I'm not sure what dish this is. But it's not really given. Like, what is this? Should I play the? Let me actually play the sound so we can hear it.
Have you ever heard of black soup? Hi guys, my name is Chis. My Benin City people gather here. This is a blend of different types of leaves. And this is my banga extra. This is my well-cooked goat meat. And this is my very soft pomo. This is my stockfish. And also this is my panla fish. I added more palm oil because my banga was not enough. Then I went in with my locust beans. I know the locust beans them they call it. I seen a native Maggi. Trust me at your own risk. I cover my pot and I open them again. Make sure to boil this soup well so that it go thick small. Now what is black soup without catfish? Only my Benin people will understand this. I know some of you be wondering why I didn't put salt and Maggi. Well, it's because I properly seasoned all my protein before adding them to this. And I also added the mixed stock. As for my pepper, I blended it together with all the leaves for the black, even together with my crayfish. Trust me. And if you want me to give you the names of the leaf I blended together, then you have to comment names of leaf on the comment section. Trust. So guys, let's remove joke aside. This particular soup was a bang. I go live for you. Now why those states people know they joke with this soup? This is not just a soup, but it is a traditional soup. Trust. And it's also one of the best soup in Nigeria. I know some people go argue this thing now because them too like comparison. Well, make sure to like and share this video and see you in my next one. Bye.
Oh, being Nigerian is long. I actually remember growing up arguing with like other ethnic groups about who had the best soups. Yeah, we're down bad on this one, man. This is not looking good for us. I didn't realize the whole time my audio input wasn't playing, so we probably didn't even hear any of the game I was playing earlier, but which is kind of sad. One sec. I didn't even realize. Anyway, that's over now. This is kind of things I gotta work on. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this story. I don't want to have a weird reputation online. Basically, okay, I'll just talk about it. Forget it. This lady, Vinicius, was moving mad freaky in her DMs, and she was like, "I told him I'm a sapiosexual." Do you remember around like Was it like 2014 when everyone sapiosexual and demisexual were like the hottest things you could be? Sapiosexual no see master student dates. Now Benicia. Like cheers is so funny. You know what? I think we all know what that means. So I think on that note, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for eventually watching this. That's been very much appreciated. And it's just I didn't actually see a name because I was distracted trying to show you guys content. But I will speak to you guys later. And thanks always for watching. Again, I'm doing this so I have a nice repository. I'm saying this to myself so I don't get demoralized if I'm not having any viewers in the live. The aim is to have a repository of long form content. You guys can listen to it in the shower, on your way to the office, wherever. Everywhere you are. Very nice. Hopefully we have 15-20 videos on TikTok. I didn't really start getting views until I got to like up and talk a bit slower. On TikTok, you're trying to do videos in 2-3 minutes, so you gotta get it out quick. But here you can kind of do the topic a bit slower, a bit more relaxed. So yeah, hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will speak to you guys on the next live stream. Should be sometime next week. I might go back to Sunday again because I want to be working on Friday next week. So you know, you see the schedule. Subscribe if you can, please. Down